Hey guys, Mr. Nettles here. Today we are going to be looking at and reading a story called A Smooth Ride. We are going to be working on Bookhead Heart. So the first thing we need to remember about Bookhead Heart, because it was a while back, was what's in the book? What is this book about? And when we're reading any story, we can use this reading strategy to help us. So we want to know what's in this book. Who's telling me this story? And the author wants me to know what? I'm not sure. What does the author want me to know about this story? Then we need to think inside of our head. What do I notice as I'm reading? Well, that surprised me. Might be something that you might be thinking about as you read the book, or you might be making a connection with the book and it reminds you of something. Maybe something that you did with your family, or maybe something that happened to you in the past. So you might be making connections. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the book, then you're going to think, well, what does this book remind me of? What connections do I make with this story? And then finally, you're going to think about how it changed you in your heart. What's something that changed in your heart? Maybe this book can help me be better by what's the lesson it might be teaching me. Remember theme? It might be teaching my heart lesson is, and that's kind of like the theme. Well, what's the moral of the story? What's it trying to teach me? Or what am I getting out of this book? And how is it changing me by reading it? So book, head, heart, and that is a reading strategy we are going to be practicing today. So sorry for it being blurry, but I'll do my best. I'll read it out loud and you guys listen. It says, a smooth ride. Travis and his family were going on vacation. They would be visiting Travis's Aunt Sandra, Uncle Pete, and his cousin Jason for a week. His dad loaded all the suitcases in the car. Then it was time to leave. Dad, Travis asked anxiously, did you remember to put my duffel bag in the car? I didn't see you load it. Don't worry, Travis, his dad told him. Everything's packed, including your duffel bag. When the family got to the airport, they unloaded their suitcases. Next, they found the right place to check in for their flight. Then it was time to get boarding passes. The boarding or the passes would let them get on the plane. Once everyone had boarding passes, the next step was to go through the security line so everyone would have a safe flight. Finally, Travis and his family got to their gate, the waiting area for their plane. The plane arrived on time. When the pilot and crew were ready for them, everyone boarded, and Travis and his family found their seats. Travis gazed at everything. He wanted to remember every detail so he could describe it to Jason. When the flight was ready to take off, Travis and his family buckled their seatbelts. Then they watched a safety video. Suddenly, Travis felt the plane jerk and then start to move. We're taking off, he said. That's right, his mom said. Soon we'll be in the air. Later, Travis was looking out the window when his mom nudged him. He turned around. A crew member was standing there. She said, would you like to see the flight deck after we land? I'd love to, Travis said. After they landed, Travis went up to the flight deck and he met the pilots while the other passengers got off the plane. He even got his picture taken in the pilot seat. Wow, he thought, wait until I tell Jason about this. All right, so that was the story, A Smooth Ride. So now I want to use my reading strategy, book, head, heart, to think about what I just read. And the first thing I want to think about is, this book is about what? What is this book about? So as I'm filling in this section, I want to answer three questions. This book is about, blank is telling the story, and the author wants me to know. So as I'm looking at that, I go ahead and write in that first column. This book is about Travis and his family going to his aunt and uncle's house. So that's what they were doing. And that's what the book was telling me. Who's telling the story? Well, if I remember correctly, I think the narrator is telling me the story. And if you remember, guys, you know and understand who's telling the story because of first and third person. Is it telling me I did this, I did that, I went here, I went there? If not, that's not first person, or that's first person, and that's not who's telling the story. In this case, it's third person. And the clues in the story are the words like they and his. Those are words that tell you that's happening in third person, which somebody is telling the story for them, not I am telling the story. This happened to me, and I. So we know the narrator is telling the story. Now, the author wants me to know about Travis's plane ride. At least that's what I think, because it was talking about them getting on the plane, what happened on the plane, his journey. So it's about his journey there. So the plane ride. So after I fill in that section, I want to go to the next section, which is the head part. Now it's happening all in my brain and in my mind as I'm reading the story. What did I notice? Well, I noticed that Travis was nervous at the beginning of the story. I could also notice other things. I noticed that he was excited about going to his cousin's house. I noticed he was, well, just like I said, he was a little nervous at the beginning when he wanted to know about the duffel bag. So you could put anything else that you noticed there. It doesn't have to be something I noticed. This reminds me of a time my family got on a plane to go on our vacation last summer. Maybe it reminds you of a movie that you saw, or maybe it reminds you of, just make a connection. Any connection that you could have to the book. What does it remind you of? You have lots and lots of experiences to draw from. And then finally, you go to the heart section. And in the heart section, that's the one that, what did you get out of reading this book? How did it change your mind or change your heart? Sometimes it has a theme. So my heart lesson for me in this story was even the small things can be an adventure. Did you see how excited he was to go and meet the pilot and sit in that seat and take a picture? So that could have been an adventure. It had nothing to do with them getting to the cousin's house yet. It all had to do with them on the plane. So I write, even the small things can be an adventure. And why? The because. I need the proof. And the proof would be he got to meet the pilot and sit in the pilot's seat. That would be a proof that I would show for my heart lesson. This is book, head, heart. So when you're done filling in this graphic organizer, it should look something like this. It should have 3 sections filled out here for the book, maybe 2 or 3 for head, and again, 1 or 2 for the heart. And please, oh please, make sure that you're writing in complete sentences. Thanks, guys. Let me know if you have questions.